Oh, the joys of cultural relativism. You know, that wonderful idea that we embrace all cultures from all over the world because it adds to that magical pool of diversity. After all cultures are equal, don't you know? So the more, the merrier. Well, I don't buy that bullshit, and neither I suspect do most Australians. Australia's a very tolerant and open society, so for the most part, you're free to worship the god of your choice, you can dress the way you want, and you can eat the type of food you want to eat. No one's going to force you to give any of that up. But there are some exceptions. For example, when you're in a courtroom, you have to stand up when a judge addresses you, and there are no exceptions to that. But this is just too much to ask for some people. Attorney-General may charge wife of Islamic State recruiter for failing to stand in court. The wife of a convicted Islamic State recruiter could be the first person in New South Wales to be charged for refusing to stand in court. New South Wales Attorney-General Gabrielle Upton wrote to the New South Wales Solicitor-General Michael Sexton SC yesterday urging he determine whether Moshe El-Zayed should be charged under the new disrespectful behaviour in court law, which carries a maximum penalty of 14 days in prison or an $1,100 fine. Miss El-Zayed, who is one of two wives of recruiter Hamdi Al-Qudsi, has caused controversy after refusing to remove her face veil to give evidence in a civil case, and by not standing for the presiding district court judge, Audrey Bala. And don't you love the photo? You've got your full beekeeping suit on, but you're still trying to cover your face. Your face is covered, idiot. That's one of the problems. Now, this new law only came into effect on September 1st, and it was prompted by similar actions of people that all subscribe to the same faith. No prizes for guessing which faith I'm talking about. This clown, whose name is too long to pronounce, while on trial for attempted murder, refused to stand for 4 judges over an 18-month period. He claimed that he, quote, was not at the behest of any authority other than Islam. Then there was Wasim Fayed, a co-accused of the previous clown that refused to stand for a district court judge in 2014. He did later stand when contempt of court charges were being considered. And then there was Isai Isaka, who refused to stand at a local court, but when he was threatened with contempt of court, he gave a tearful apology. But back to the beekeeper. On Wednesday, Moshe El-Zayed, through her barrister, told Judge Bala she won't stand for anyone except Allah. Judge Bala was hearing a lawsuit brought by Moshe El-Zayed against the New South Wales and Federal Police, claiming she was assaulted during a counter-terrorism raid on her home in September 2014. By the way, that terrorism raid led to the arrest and imprisonment of her husband, the aforementioned Hamdi Al-Qudsi, for helping 7 men travel to Syria to fight with Islamist rebels, including Islamic State. During the hearing, Miss El-Zayed refused to take off her face veil, called a niqab, to give evidence unless all the men in the courtroom looked away. Progressive. Judge Bala tried to find a compromise by offering to close the court or to allow Miss El-Zayed to give evidence via video link, but the strict Muslim rejected both offers because she would still be required to remove her niqab. Now, it pisses me off that she was even given the choice of a compromise. This should not be negotiable. There are situations in which it is vital that your face be seen, and a court of law is one of them. Even the cultural suicide architect-in-chief Angela Merkel has now called for at least a partial ban on the burqa in Germany. Showing your face in public places like a courtroom is part of Australian culture that needs to be respected. Now, you may recall that the beekeeper is one of 2 wives of the convicted Al-Qudsi. And just in case you're wondering, no, it's not legal to have 2 wives in New South Wales, but there are certain exceptions. For example, according to an article published in the New South Wales Law Journal in 2011, valid Muslim polygamist marriages lawfully entered into overseas are recognised, with 2nd and 3rd wives and their children able to claim welfare and other benefits. which of course, whilst legal, is absolutely ludicrous. But there are a lot of Islamic polygamous marriages conducted via religious ceremonies that breach the Australian Marriage Act. But that's a topic for another video. Anyway, the other wife, Carnita Matthews, had her own little drama with police 5 years ago. She was pulled over and booked for not displaying her P-plate properly. She claimed that during the incident, the officer tried to rip her full-face niqab from her face. Subsequently, a man and a woman wearing a niqab went to Campbelltown Police Station where the woman, whom the officer on duty believed to be Carnita Matthews, complained about the patrol officer. They returned the next day with a TV crew and a statutory declaration, a legal document, purportedly signed by Matthews, 52, which said the patrol officer moved closer to me in a threatening manner and moved his hand closer to my veil, where I felt he was going to rip it off my face. Now, little did she know the incident was recorded on the officer's in-car video, and it subsequently was investigated by police professional standards who watched the officer's in-car video, which showed Matthews repeatedly calling him a racist, saying all police were racist, and telling him, "You're going to be in trouble."
You are racist. Okay. All cops are racist.
Matthews was then charged with knowingly making a false complaint. She pleaded not guilty in Campbelltown Magistrates Court and said it was not her signature on the stat dec. Magistrate Robert Babbage found her guilty and sentenced her to 6 months jail. He said no person other than the person who had directly spoken to the patrol officer would have been able to make the stat dec. Matthews appealed it, and in the district court, Judge Clive Jeffreys overturned her conviction. He said he could not be sure that the stat dec signature was hers. He also said the woman who delivered the complaint to police could not be identified because of her niqab. And that's the defence that her lawyers used. You can't convict her of anything because you can't identify her. I don't know of a better example of why the niqab is a bad idea, apart from the subjugation of women angle, that is. Now, these people are clearly scumbags who openly defy Australian law and reject Australian values. And given the climate of cultural relativism that exists, it's more important than ever to define and stand up for Australian values. Values that can be found, not coincidentally, in the best places on earth to live.